Hey there. First of all, I want to welcome you to this video and to this channel. Just as a quick reminder, if you want to go down below and click subscribe real quick, I have a special offer right now for whoever is our first subscriber ever. I have a free gift for you. I'm going to turn that little blue subscribe button, the little subscribe button you have there, blue. So you'll have a very special gift I've left for you. Matter of fact, if you're the second, third, or 2000th subscriber, you might still get the same price. Anyways, so today what I want to do is I talk to you about something I've been playing with lately, and there's certain parts of this that I think are really cool and useful. Some have blown my mind, and I just want to walk you through. The AI tool is called NotebookLM. It's brought to us by the good folks over at Google. There's a lot of different things that are really cool about it. But one of the coolest things is a little podcast or audio generator that it creates. And I just want to walk through, and we're going to do a whole video series about this. But first, I wanted to walk through and show you the podcast piece. And as we do that, we'll walk through a little bit of NotebookLM. And then in future videos, I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about some of the uses for NotebookLM, combining it up as we're going to do today with other AI tools, and check out some really cool features that we can create with it. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to head on over to NotebookLM. You probably didn't see that coming. But if we go into NotebookLM, you'll see you get a blank canvas here. If you're already signed into Google, you'll see my smiling face from like 20 years ago showing up there. So we're in our Google account. You have to sign in or sign up, however that works for NotebookLM, and you get here. Like I said, I'm going to do some intro videos later. I really wanted to show you the audio generator today, though, and how that all works, and run through that. So we'll go into more detail later on about other things. Check out the channel for more videos as they come. But for today, we're just going to start at the beginning, and we'll do a new notebook. These down here that you see, these come with NotebookLM and just help you learn more about the product. But as we do a new one, what it does at its essence is you're creating a notebook. If you imagine anybody out there that's into IT or operations of some type, you have standard operating procedures, and you've created those procedures, and then they're basically, if this happens, then you do that type of things, and pulling all of your data together, all those SOPs and that, and then you use that information to do something. Sort of the general gist of what this does. And as you can see down here, we have multiple sources of data that you can use in here. Again, I'm going to do the audio generator today because I thought it was really cool. There are so many other things we're going to do with this. We'll get to it later. But these sources can be used to do anything from creating the audio that we're going to do, getting all of the sources in there, and then you can take those sources and have a chat with them. Imagine ChatGPT, which is going out everywhere on the internet, taking any bit of knowledge it has and drawing it back in. But in this case, we can put the information in. Imagine your employee manual, and then we can chat with that. So just load your employee manual in here. You've got a Google Doc, or you paste the text to however that works. It's on a website link. Very cool too. And if you do that, then you bring that data in here. You can use a chat function and basically ask the employee manual questions, and it'll use AI to generate the information back to you. One very basic example, but just giving you a general gist of how NotebookLM is designed to work. What we're going to do today, though, is we're going to pull in some sources from some websites and then create a audio podcast that uses those sources and references those sources in the podcast audio. We're going to do that by going to some websites first. And what I usually do when I'm looking for website sources, my quickest, easiest is Perplexity AI. If you haven't used Perplexity before, it's Perplexity AI, perplexity.ai. And it's sort of a search engine, but instead of bringing back a bunch of results and you come through and figure out what you want to read from those results, it joins that together and gives you an output. In this case, you'll see what I've done is I've gone in there and said, how can IT managers over 50 make money freelancing in the AI market? And I asked that question. It gave me an answer back. And then it also gave me some information about that answer. So over 50, leverage with extensive experience, skills, capitalize on freelancing opportunities, AI, etc. What are some of the things you can do in that? You can do AI consulting and strategy, AI project management, AI training and education, enhanced services, so on and so forth. And it's drawing all that information from a set of sources up here. So a set of website or blog posts, YouTube videos, multiple things. And so it used 7 sources to give us the answer. That's what I'm going to use as a part of our podcast that we're going to generate. Now, it did give us some nice text here, and so I'm going to use that as my first source that I'm bringing into Notebook. Um, what you can do with Notebook is grab a link, and so I could hit my copy link here, come back over here to NotebookLM, hit the website, put in the link. The problem when I find almost everything is that if I try to do that, I'm going to get a security warning. So I've copied that link. I'm going to come back in here. I'm going to add my source, paste it in, and through the power of internet, at some point I get a big red warning. And if I click on the warning, it says it is unable to import that web page due to some type of source restrictions. Basically, Perplexity is not allowing that to be grabbed and crawled. So that's not going to work. What I would recommend doing, and I'm sure there's lots of different options out there, but I grab a Chrome extension. It is called, let me see if I get it right. I believe I'm doing this live so y'all can see it. With Reader View, if I spell reader right. Yeah, Reader View. It is a Chrome extension. What it does, and we'll see it in a minute here when we add it in real time to our info. I can come back to Perplexity. I can go to Reader View, this little guy right here. And you see it turned everything, of course, into text as you would expect. I can come down here, grab that information. I'm just going to grab it all for now, copy it, and come back to NotebookLM. Go back and do that add source again, but instead of a website link this time, we're going to do copied text. And I'm going to paste that little bugger in there. Insert it in. I have source number 1. There's a bunch of things we can do with that coming out of it. We're going to focus on the deep dive conversation audio over here in a minute, but you can do a bunch of other things. As you can see here, you can create an FAQ, timeline, briefing doc, so on and so forth. That's just one source though. And you can imagine if we just pulled in that one source, it might be boring, number 1. Number 2, it might be inaccurate. And number 3, you want to talk about AI hallucination. The less info you give a large language model, the more it thinks on its own, and the more it thinks on its own, it's sort of like me. It comes up with its own answers that are totally inaccurate. So our goal is to get as much information into the system that we find to be reasonable in the time we want to do it, and the most accurate information, so it spits out the most accurate answer. 40 years ago, my college professor in IT, I think it was Fortran programming, told us garbage in, garbage out, and that hasn't changed since 40 years ago. Okay, it wasn't 40 years ago, it was less, but you get the gist of it. It's been the same thing for a long time, and AI is the same way. Garbage in, get your garbage out. So we are still, while we're grabbing information, we're letting AI assimilate it and do some things with it. The key is we're going to go and look at those sources on Perplexity and decide for ourselves, what do we want this podcast audio to ingest, to use? And so we still are certainly influencing the information quite a bit. So I'm going to come back over here and we're going to go back to Perplexity again. And here I'm going to hit that view source. So I grabbed the Perplexity output that it created, but I want to grab some of these sources too. And so Upwork is a good example. In Upwork, they've got this article, How to Make Money in AI, the Practical Guide 2024. Looks pretty cool. I'm going to try it. We'll see what happens, to grab the link and see if we have to go back and scrape it with the Chrome extension in a minute, but we'll give it a shot. And we'll paste that in there. And this one actually worked. And so now you see we have that source there, the pasted text source that we used before from Perplexity. directly from Perplexity, and we'll get that info. So I'm going to come back here and do that again at least one or two more times. I'm just sort of looking through this information here, and I see different pieces, how to use AI to revolutionize your career. You know what? This is Matt Holpinski, source I don't know at all. So I'm thinking, you know what? Maybe Matt's got some different views on things. And so I'm going to grab that from Matt over there. I'm sure you'll be watching this video later. Matt, shout out to that. I am kidding. He will be watching this video later. And so, but it would be very cool if he ended up watching it. So we'll grab that source in there. Also, you'll see it's adding that source as we go. And now Matt's info is in there. Let's try just one more thing just to round this out pretty nicely. Let's see here. Not going to do a YouTube video quite yet, but I'll show you later another time about how to do that. For now, we're just going to grab this little guy here. And School for Freelancers, looking through AI Revolution, Transforming Services. As I look through it, I see we have bursts, which is large and small paragraphs with bullet points and so on and so forth without even reading the words. I know most likely that was a prompt given to AI to write this blog post. But I'm going to say for now, even though I don't always use AI-produced content to produce AI-produced content, you can see where we end up on that. But I'm going to, for our purposes right now, I'm going to use it in our notebook. He didn't like that one. So we're going to use our little trick there. And we're going to delete that. We're going to go back to our article once I find it right here. And we're going to grab it with Reader. Pull down our content. As I look at the results for this, I can almost guarantee I could tell you what tool they used for creating those blog posts, but that's okay. Content for now is content for now. And we're going to add that as a pasted text source. I'm going to insert that in there. All right. So now we've got our sources, a couple were pasted, a couple of the actual blog posts, and we got some Perplexity information to line it out. So we've got all of that. And now we're going to actually go and generate our podcast. So hit generate there. All right. So we have the finished audio through the magic of time. It takes, I don't know, it probably took about 4 or 5 minutes to get the audio from the sources that we put in, the text and the website links, until it generated a podcast episode, basically. So I'm going to play it real quick here. And as I'm
on this whole AI boom, like whether it's launching a side hustle or just figuring out how to future-proof your existing freelance career.
Yeah, absolutely. And, what's interesting is all these articles really highlight the same crucial point. It's not just about using AI for
first of all,
output, aligning your unique...
Especially if you're in one of those fields where AI is making such a big impact. So how can freelancers, how can they navigate all this uncertainty? Is it just a matter of jumping ship, finding a whole new career path?
That's the thing, not necessarily. Remember back in the day?
So I think that's pretty amazing. I think the inflection of their voice, the conversation back and forth between the two people, what we didn't hear here, I'm going to put a link to the audio so you can listen to it. It generated about a 10-minute episode. It talks about as if the female voice is interviewing the male voice, and she mentions the articles in the text that we've provided in NotebookLM as what they're going to talk about as a part of the topic today, which I think is crazy. And then it's obviously taking all of that data and then making a conversation out of it. But it doesn't sound like AI audio. I mean, I've got some tools where I can take text and then use my voice that I've used to train the AI model with. And so it gets okay. It's certainly nowhere near like what I'm talking like right now. It doesn't have an inflection, doesn't have the ums, doesn't have the hesitation that goes along with the normal conversation that you might find pleasing to your ear. This stuff does. It really, really does have a sound like it. I almost think I'm listening to like a Friday afternoon NPR science show when I'm listening to that audio, which is pretty crazy. The other thing too is, and I mentioned, we're going to do more than just this audio with NotebookLM because there's so many uses, from business and marketing strategy plans to training for customer service and other things that it can do that I think are really beneficial. But when you think about just that audio piece there, it's generated the audio, but it's also generated the text that goes with it. And so maybe in a future episode, we'll do some repurposing of AI generated podcast where we can make blog posts out of it, content for website pages that may rank well with for SEO, creating some shorts from there. And then I got to be honest, right now I hate generated video because it just doesn't look very good. But at least taking that content and maybe turning it into a video script for a YouTube video based on that conversation, because it took everything and created its own content out of it. And so now we've taken all the articles, made one piece of content. I think it'd be cool to then take that one piece of content and break it out into multiple pieces of content we can repurpose from there. So we're going to look at that next time. If you have any questions, make sure you go below and click on the link and visit our website. You could sign up for the newsletter there. Of course, if you want to subscribe to the channel, you can do that. I think, the few, the proud, sort of like the Marine statement, the few, the proud that are subscribed here. But until next time, play with NotebookLM. We've got links below for that too. And check it out and let me know what you did with it.